Al Nash recently left the National Park Service, where he served 9 years as a public information officer for Yellowstone National Park. His passion dates back to childhood, and his work for the park started 20 years ago. Q2's David J. reports on Nash's reflection on his time at the country's first national park.
My love affair with Yellowstone started well over 50 years ago, when my parents brought my sister and I west from the Middle West to enjoy Yellowstone. Some of my earliest memories as a child are of smelling that stinky rotten egg smell, the sulfur of some of the thermal features, and of my mother shooing my sister and I back to our vehicle as my dad was trying to take a picture of a black bear in a pullout in the park.
Al Nash's passion for Yellowstone National Park led to a 20-year career, the last 9 as public information officer.
I joked that I really had 3 seasons during much of my Yellowstone career: winter, bison, and wildland fire.
Nash worked as news director for Q2 during the 1988 fires at Yellowstone, which burned 1.4 million acres. He talked about that time as well as remembering the anniversaries of those fires.
At that point, I was reflecting upon it in 2 ways, really. As someone who, during my NPS career, worked in fire as well, but then also reflecting upon my time here at MTN, where our lives were dominated by that story during the summer of 1988.
He said those anniversaries allowed the park to show how fire is part of the natural process.
Fire isn't bad. Fire can be good. The ongoing challenge for fire managers is to protect people and property and to allow fire as appropriate on the landscape, generally speaking in smaller patches, so that you have the potential to avoid the biggest fires that are so impactful.
Through the years, citizens discussed and debated the management and health of bison during Nash's time at the park.
The issue of bison in Yellowstone is a true conservation success. You have to remember, a century ago, there really were just a handful of wild bison left. The reason there are challenges and some conflict is because that's been such a success.
Nash says snowmobiles created resource and potential health issues with the 2-stroke engines.
It was a rather challenging, long, and at times painful process to come to a solution that people felt was appropriate. But you know, the park operated this past winter under the entire new plan. Sometimes the fact that winter use in Yellowstone really wasn't in the news is reflective of the fact that the solution is a success.
And now Nash has moved to another adventure and away from Yellowstone.
It was my privilege and pleasure to be able to serve for a period of time in that role as one of the stewards of a place that millions of people consider special.
In Billings, David J., MTN News.
Sounds like a great opportunity, and Al Nash started his new job on March 23rd as the Chief of Communications for the Bureau of Land Management at the Montana Dakota's office here in Billings.